this is Christy Fulk with Create with Christy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and this video is for my holiday catalog reveal party over on Facebook. If you're watching this video on YouTube, you can look down in the video description and I've got a link that goes directly to the class, and you can join and then I'll accept your membership there. Today I'm using the Brightly Gleaming Suite, and I just love the colors in this. I love the copper foil and the paper. Copper's my favorite metal that we've got. We've got the gold, silver, and copper. Copper's definitely my favorite. So I'm going to first show you the inside of the catalog. I'm so happy I can finally show you the inside of the catalog. Now that it's live, I'm allowed to do so. But here's the beautiful front that you've seen in some of my videos. If you've got one of these catalogs, you might want to get it out throughout every time I do a video, I'll show you what page it's on of the products I'm using. If you don't have a catalog and don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and live in the United States, I'd be happy to mail one to you. Just message me. If you're here on Facebook, message me on Facebook. Or you can give me your email down in the description. I'll get a hold of you. I don't want you to give me your information below in the video on YouTube. But if you're on Facebook, you can message me your address and I'll get one mailed out to you right away. Okay, so if you do have one, turn to page 30. Isn't this gorgeous? I just love everything about this one. This is definitely one of my favorites, if not the favorite suite in the catalog. And I love that we've got these easy buttons, you can call them. If you like everything in that one suite, you can purchase it with one item number. I love that new feature that we have now. And it just makes it a whole lot easier so you don't have to write every single thing down. And one thing I want to let you know, you can, as always, get a bundle for the new products, and we've got the stamp set and a punch pack that bundles together, and that's down here for 10% off. The price up here for the whole suite includes the bundle price, so you'll still get your 10% off your bundle. But it's such a pretty ensemble. I love everything about it. There are only two things I'm not using, the Star Designer Elements and the Brightly Gleaming Foil Elements. I'm going to show you those real quick just so you know what they look like. Here are the stars. They're really cute. I'll kind of bring it up, maybe you can see it a little better, but really pretty copper. I think that I didn't use them this time, but I know I'll be using them a lot. And something else I know I'll be using a lot. Here are those Brightly Gleaming, can't remember the whole name, Brightly Gleaming Foil Elements. Very pretty. I love all the ornaments, the stars, the leaves. Very pretty. Okay, now I am going to hurry up and show you the things I am using. I'm going to be using the Brightly Gleaming Specialty Designer Series paper. Now I've got this cut down to 6x6 just to make it easier to show in the video. But isn't that copper gorgeous? I've always loved copper and Knight of Navy together. And there's the other side for that. Here's the copper side on this one. It's got Knight of Navy and Pretty Peacock in it. And then the other colors in this paper, can't remember, let me look real quick. They are Copper Foil, Mossy Meadow, Knight of Navy, Pretty Peacock, and Very Vanilla. Those are all the colors in it. Very pretty ornaments. There's that side. I love how one side is copper on each one. There's just Knight of Navy. Isn't that pretty? See, I like Pretty Peacock and the copper together too. Other side for that one. And this is the one I'm using on the card. Love the old olive with that too, or Mossy Meadow actually. Very pretty. Okay, now I'll hurry up and show you the bundle. This is the Christmas Gleaming Stamp Set, and I'll be using the two larger ornaments, the Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly stamp, and this border stamp here, and the holly. Almost forgot about that. And they all coordinate with some punches. This is the Brightly Gleaming Gleaming Ornaments punch pack. And those are the two punches that go with it. If you buy these together, you'll save the 10%, and it's $49.50 for the stamp set and the punches. Really good deal. And one is the larger punch and the medium size, as you can see. Then I'm also using the Hammered Metal embossing folder. Very cool. I'm going to be using it kind of a little different. Usually with Hammered Metal, it's got the cave-ins. I'm actually using the emboss side of it. So they're different. You can use either side. It looks good. And then I'm also using the last item in the suite, and that is this Very Vanilla Classic Weave Ribbon. Isn't that gorgeous? I love the Merry Christmas. So it's got just regular print and in script with the copper. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so now I'll hurry up and show you all the product pieces of paper that you need to make this card. This is a Mossy Meadow piece. It's 5.5 by 8.5. This is the card base. Pretty Peacock piece, 5 1/4 by 4, and this is with the hammered metal folder. It's a 3D folder. So this is a side you normally use because it's, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it's debossed. I'm using the other side because I thought this looked really good for what I was going for. So I like that you can use both sides. Then there's a piece of 5 1/4 by 4 inch Very Vanilla, and this will be the inside of the card. So we're going to be decorating the inside since the Mossy Meadow is so dark. Then I've got a piece of Very Vanilla. It's a 4.5 by 2 3/4, and I already die cut it with the number 6 die. It's actually, let me bring these in. This is from the Stitched Nested Labels. Love these. And this is the die I used right here. So I'll go ahead and put that over here. So with the way I count, when I do number 6, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this was the 6. So I always start with the smallest and go up. So whenever you see me use numbers, that's how I figure that out. And then there's another piece of Very Vanilla. This is going to be for the holly, and it is 4 1/4 by 2. And then a piece of the Brightly Gleaming Designer Series paper. And this is 5 1/4 by 1.5. And then I've got a couple of strips of Mossy Meadow and Pretty Peacock for the ornaments. And they are 1 3/4 inches wide. It doesn't matter how long. I just grabbed some strips so I could stamp those on there. Okay, let's go ahead and grab the Mossy Meadow piece. I'm going to fold this in half. Need to grab my bone folder, which I forgot to get out. There we go. I always like using my bone folder. It gives me a nice crisp crease. Here's my hammered metal piece, the Pretty Peacock. I'm going to grab the Designer Series paper, and because it's embossed, I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue here. I find that the glue works so much easier, or actually not just easier, it works better. The snail, it stays on for a while, but then it tends to fall off after a while. So if you use the glue, I think why it works so much better, the glue's able to get inside the crevices in the embossing, and I think that's why it works so much better. Now it does look like I might have made it a little too long. Fix that easy. I'm just going to take this and cut that off, just like so. There we go. Get that out of the way. Now I'm going to bring in my Merry Christmas ribbon, and I'm going to grab some snail, and I'm just going to put some snail on the back of each one. I have a little trouble using glue on the ribbon, so I like using snail with the ribbon. So just put this right across the top of the Designer Series paper, maybe over just a little bit. And that looks pretty good. Okay, just like so. And now it's ready to go put on the card base. So I'm going to take multi-purpose glue on again, since I'm still using the embossed piece. And I am putting some over the ribbon, as you can see. You don't need a lot. And put it on the middle of the card base. Okay, and just push it down a little bit. And that looks really good. So now we're ready. We've got that done, so I'll set that aside. Okay, now we're going to stamp the ornaments. First thing I want to do, because we're going to heat emboss. So if you haven't heat embossed before, here's how you do it. First, you want to take your embossing buddy and you put this on the cardstock, and this takes all the moisture out of your cardstock, because the embossing powder will stick to anything that's got some moisture to it. So that dried out my paper. Now I'm going to bring in my Versamark ink pad, and this will leave a watermark of the ornament. So I'll just stamp it here where I dried the cardstock. Hold it down a few seconds, and I think you can probably see that in the video, but it leaves a nice watermark. The nice thing about Versamark, it stays wet for about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. That way you've got time to put your embossing powder on. And I'm going to stamp this ornament here on the Mossy Meadow. Hold it down a few seconds. So those are all ready to go. Now I'm going to bring in my copper Stampin' Emboss powder. And if you've ever did like the glue and glitter thing when you were in school, this is how this works. You just put this on. I'm going to tap off the excess, and see, that leaves, now you can see the ornament real well. It's got copper embossing powder wherever I stamped it. That watermark is holding on to all of that. Pour some more on here. That looks pretty good. Just tap it a little bit. There we go. Go ahead and set this to the side. Now I'm going to heat emboss these. Now this is one of the reasons I used a long strip. Now I can hold onto this end and not worry about burning my fingers. But this thing, you want to put it on full blast up to the 2. That's the nice thing about the heat tool for Stampin' Up. It's got 2 low and a high, but you always want to use the high heat because that's what's going to make this melt. Hair dryer doesn't get hot enough. This does get hot enough. Then you'll see it's going to start melting it. You'll see how the copper starts to get real shiny. So I'm kind of leaving it at the sides so you can see it. You just keep going until it's all melted. And as you can see, I am not just going like this. I know some people do that. It takes so much longer. Just stay in the area until it melts, and then you move it slowly. So that looks good. And you don't want to heat it for too long because then it just starts soaking into the cardstock. As soon as it's melted, then you move on. I just love the detail in these ornaments. They're so pretty. So if you like elegant looking projects, this is definitely the suite you want to take advantage of. And just like that, we've got 2 pretty copper stamped ornaments. Okay, now as you saw with the punch pack, there are 2 of them, but since I'm only using the larger, we're just going to stick this in here. I'm going to angle it so I can see it, and then I'll put it back in the video so you can see it. Oh, I moved it a little bit here. There we go. Okay, and you punch it out. And we'll do the same with the Mossy Meadow. And punch. So now we've got 2 beautiful copper embossed ornaments. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my 4 1/4 by 2 inch piece of Very Vanilla. And I'm going to stamp the Holly stamp with my Tuxedo Black Memento pad. Get that inked up really well. Looks pretty good. And I'm going to be stamping this twice. And one more. There we go. And it's okay if it's near the edge. We don't have dies for these, so I'll be fussy cutting these out. Now I'm going to bring in some Stampin' Blends. I'm using the Pretty Peacock combo and the Mossy Meadow combo. And what I'm going to do, so I know normally berries are not this color, but I think it looks pretty neat doing different colors, non-traditional. And I like using, the nice thing about the blends, we've got a blunt tip for writing and doing small images, and this is the brush tip. And I like to use the brush tip the most. It's just whatever you prefer. I always start with a dark color, and where I want it to be dark, I just color those in. So right now it's mainly just where those little dots are is where I want it. So here in the center, around there. You just keep going, and you do want it to go over it a few times so it saturates the cardstock. And that looks pretty good. As you can see, it's bleeding through, and that's what it's supposed to do, so don't get all worried. It's actually supposed to do that. Now I'm going to bring in the light Pretty Peacock, and I'm going to color in the whole berry, going over the dark so it blends. That's why I like to start off with the dark, because I can blend much better later. And see how this is a little stark. This one's blended a little better than this one because I only went over it once. So to get that a little softer looking, I just go over it a little again, and that softened it up. It makes it look a little more natural, because when you look at real berries, it's not going to be a big stark difference in the shading. So I'll get these all colored in. Okay, that's a neat thing I like about the blends. I don't know if you noticed in the fast mode, I went back over, like this one could probably be lightened up a little bit more, and just keep playing with it till it looks good. If you end up blending it too much, you can always go back in and add some more dark. Love, love our blends. They're so much fun too. I really have a lot of fun. Now with the leaves, I want the veins to be darker, so I'm using my dark Mossy Meadow. As you can see, I'm kind of doing a scribble line on them. I don't want it to be a straight line, because that just wouldn't look natural. You're wanting to try to make it look like a natural leaves. I know these may not be natural berries because you usually don't see them this color, but that's okay. Makes it more creative that way. So as you can see, I've done all the veins on this one. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to bring in my light Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to color again over the dark. Right now, just go over it real quick. That way you can see the difference. Get all of this done here. Okay, now you can see how, like, oh, wait a minute, those veins look way too dark. So I'm just going to go over them a few times with the light, and they'll blend in like magic. Isn't that pretty? Love that. Okay, now I'll finish the rest of the leaves. Okay, here we go. Now I'm not too concerned. I did get out of the lines a little bit, but I'm going to be fussy cutting these out, so it's not going to matter. So I think it's probably a little easier to kind of clip them like this. So you've got a little smaller piece of paper. And when I fussy cut, you really don't want to be moving the scissors as much as you do the cardstock. So what I'm doing is, if you notice, the scissors don't move too much. I may move them a little bit, but I'm mainly moving the paper, and that makes it so it's a lot smoother, because I'm not chopping it and going back and forth. The cardstock is doing the work. So you just keep doing that. Okay, there we go. One's all cut out. Isn't that pretty? I just love that. It looks like, oh, nope, I did fine. I thought I missed something, but that's actually just a little opening, so that's pretty. So got that already. Now I'm going to cut this out, and I will come back, so you don't have to sit here and watch me do this. So I'll come back, and it'll be all cut. Okay, as I was cutting those, I got to looking at my original card, and I like the way I colored that better. I don't really like this empty spot here. So I'm going back with the light Mossy Meadow. There, I like that a lot better. Okay, those are ready to go. Now I'm going to grab my stitch nested label, and I'm going to grab my Pretty Peacock ink pad and the Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly. And I'm going to stamp it over here on the right. Hold it down a few seconds. Perfect. And I'm going to grab my card. And I'm going to put some multi-purpose glue on the back of this. And put it on the card base. Just like so. This is going to be pretty much in the middle, left and right anyway. I'm going to have it go over the ribbon a little bit. Oops, help if I didn't put it upside down. There we go. Had my hand in the way, didn't notice that. Okay, hold that down. I've got it in the spot I want. That's the nice thing I like about our glue too. I could move this around a little bit until I start pressing. Once I press it down, it's not going to move anymore. Very nice. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the berries, and I'm going to put them on just like so. It's going to be kind of like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of glue right up here near the top of the ornament. And put it on just like that. Hold it down for a few seconds. Make sure it's on really good. And now I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Just put it here along the top, maybe a little bit right there. And put this berry on like that. And hold it down. Trick is to hold it down and give it some pressure, and then it stays on. Okay, now I'm going to put this one on here. Kind of move them around to where I like the way they look. I'm going to put some glue on this one. This one I'm going to have down a little farther. I'm going to pop up the other one. Oops. I'm going to put it about right here. Hold it down. About looks pretty good. Now I'm going to use our new black Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm excited about these because I had a friend that bought some from another company, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe more like 3 years ago. And I loved them so much, I brought them up to Stampin' Up. I sent an email, and I hear back from one of the people there in the office, and they loved the idea, wanted the information on it. I gave it to them, and then they let me have a free stamp set. So I love how Stampin' Up listens to us, and I wasn't sure if they liked it, and all of a sudden it was in the holiday catalog. So I'm pretty excited about these. The first time I've ever done that. I thought that was pretty cool. But I'll show you why I love them so much. And the neat thing about them, you get 2 sheets of these in the mini and the regular Stampin' Dimensional sizes in the one pack for $6. I think that's such a good deal. But now I'm going to take the paper backing off, and you can see how dark and black they are. Isn't that pretty? I actually think they look pretty. But the reason they're so nice, especially with the dark cardstock, you can do it with the white cardstock too, they are so hard to see because they're in the shadows when you put it on your card. The white would tend to show up a little bit too much. So I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more so I can still see my words. There we go. But I don't know if you can tell, it is very hard to see. If you were looking at you could see the white ones, but you can barely see the black ones. So that's why I like them so much. So there's the outside of the card. Now I'm going to bring in my vanilla piece, and we're going to decorate that up real quick. And bring this border in, and my pretty peacock. Forgot to bring some scrap paper, but that's okay. We'll make this work. So I'm just going to line it up here on the bottom, like so. Try to keep it straight. I'm at an angle, so it's really hard for me to see if I'm keeping it straight. That one was a lot better than the first one. There we go. So I've got that going across the bottom. Bring this in. And since I've already got this out, we'll go ahead and just use this. I could use snail since I'm not putting on embossing, but this works just as good. Open this up and put it on the inside, and it's ready to go. So there we go. Very pretty. Okay, there's the card. Really love the colors, and it's so pretty. Hope you enjoyed it too. And remember, this is from the Brightly Gleaming Suite. And if you like this and would like to place an order, I am doing a special from September 4th to September 11th. If you use my September host code, which is in the bottom left corner of this video, and place a $50 order, you're going to get 2 doilies with my Doily Rewards program instead of 1. If you don't know what my Doily Rewards program is, I've got a link for it in the video description. And if you're watching on my Facebook group, it'll be in the post. You'll find out all about it. When you collect 10 doilies, you earn a $50 shopping spree on me. I even pay for the shipping and tax. So during my special here for this week, the first $50 orders, if you go up to a $100 order, you get double doilies. So a $50 order gets you 2, a $100 order gets you 4. And then after that, you'll go back to the 1 doilies for every 50 on your order. And you need to keep track of your doilies, and there's a redemption form there on the doily page, and you'll get all the information there. If you have any questions, just let me know. Either comment below or comment in the post. I think that's it. So I'll see you later with another card. Bye.